Broadcast Network, Brave New Radio.
Brave New Radio. Give us your tired, your poor, your hungry, your rockers, your punks, your freaks, your geeks, your Greeks, your party animals, your gangsters, your commuters, your residents, your students, your alums, your lawyers, your truckers, your calls, your tweets. And we'll give you rock, classic, indie, punk, alternative, easy, hard, raps, rhymes, mixes, and drops. We'll give you kick-ass music because we're WPSC 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio. Sound good?
The views and opinions expressed on this show are solely those of the host and guest and are not necessarily supported by WPSC 88.7 FM, station management, or the station owner, William Patterson University. Anyone wanting to offer differing opinions may do so by calling the show at 973-720-2738. Abusive callers will be rejected. Now here's your program on WP 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio.
I love it. That's one of the tracks on my CD, The Wrinkled Rag, Respect Your Father. Good morning to you. I was just sitting here listening as we opened up, and I love the song. Actually, I love the songs on the CD, but I love that one in particular, so I get into a special frame of mind, a special energy as I listen to that, and then when I combine that of being on the air with you each Saturday morning, I love it, I love it. If you don't know who it is by now, this is your host, Marc Medley, host of The Reading Circle, where we come to you live each Saturday morning from 6 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock a.m., bringing you the best of what's going on in the literary world. And my guest is already on the line, so we're going to go through our normal ritual and routine, which is I'm going to share the weather with you. Then I'm going to read from 2 books. I'll introduce my guest, and we will be off to the races, as they can say. So without further ado, right now in the New Jersey area, it is 55.3 degrees. We expect scattered thunderstorms developing this afternoon, high around 85, a low of 63. Variable clouds with showers and scattered thunderstorms this evening. 50% chance of rain. And then as we roll on in tomorrow, Sunday, expect a high of 87, a low of 62. Considerable cloudiness with occasional rain showers, high of 87. As I said, low of 62. And then on Monday, partly cloudy skies in the morning will give way to cloudy skies during the afternoon. 69 high, 55 degrees as a low. Wednesday, or Tuesday rather, cloudy with showers, high of 78, low of 55. Cloudy skies early Tuesday night, followed by partial clearing. And then the sun pops back out on Wednesday, a mainly sunny sky, high of 73, low of 46. Clear during the evening, followed by mostly cloudy skies overnight. That rounds out our weather right here from the WP 88.7 FM Weather Center. You heard me open the show saying how much I love the music that's playing because I'm a musician. And needless to say, because I'm a musician, I am saddened, like the rest of the world, at the loss of B.B. King. And B.B. went on, I believe it was yesterday morning or day before yesterday, but B.B. had a great contribution to the world with the blues. And so B.B. King, may he rest in peace, and thank God and thank him for the contribution that he made to the world, he and Lucille. So we will miss B.B. because I was a B.B. King fan. I have some B.B. King albums. I remember back in the day when it was an album, not CDs and not MP3s. It was albums. So I have B.B. King albums. And so when I heard that he had passed away, all I can say was rest in peace. He was 89, and still, I guess he wanted to be 90. But in any event, we do thank God for his contribution. Well, without further ado, we're going to continue on with our ritual and routine. Because as a musician, I had to pay homage to another musician who was the king of the blues. Today is May the 16th, out of the book What Can Happen When We Pray. Just a visit. Today's prayer: O Lord, help me to be as mindful of my own words as I am mindful of the words of others. Amen. Today's reflection: this particular psalm mirrors the movement and emotional anxiety that we all experience from time to time. Sometimes the words of others can push us to the edge. Oh, I know that's right. Hurtful words can cause us to doubt. The realization that life on earth is temporary and filled with pain can compel us to examine the permanence of God and the hope and expectation of better days in God's presence. Know that God's words of promise are sure, and that suffering cannot endure forever. Like the psalmist, in the midst of suffering, hope and faith in God are what we have to cling to. That's today for May the 16th, Just a Visit. Out of the book by Ian Van Zandt, Until Today for May the 16th, she says, I am now receptive to the idea that whenever I see a hole, I am to move around it. Somebody left you, and now there's a gaping hole in the middle of your soul. The question is, how are you going to fill that hole? Are you going to fill it with painful memories of how you got hurt or got left? Or are you going to fill it with memories of the many moments of joy and laughter you had together? Are you going to fill the hole with anger, resentment, fear, or shame directed toward the one who left? Or are you going to fill the hole with appreciation that you do have an opportunity to choose how you're going to fill the hole? Are you going to fill the hole with the countless reasons why it should not have happened to you? Or are you going to fill it with the courage it will take to accept that it did happen to you in this way? Are you going to fill the hole with at least 1 ounce of confidence that you can handle this, whatever it takes? Or are you going to fill the hole with the self-defeating belief that you can't or will not make it through or over this hole? Are you going to empty all of your self-value, self-worth, and self-esteem into the hole until it becomes a pit of self-pity, self-doubt, and self-inflicted nonsense that keeps you in a hole of despair? Are you going to throw yourself into a hole and dare life to try and move you? You can cover the hole with love and prayer and acceptance of your ability to step over or walk around the hole. You can also step back, take a little break, and wait to see the self that emerges from the hole. The choice is yours. Until today, you may have believed that you had to stay in the painful hole of hurt caused by the loss of a loved one. Just for today, make a conscious effort and choose to cover the hole and move on. Today I'm devoted to covering the holes and filling in all the gaps in my life. That's from the book Until Today by Ian Van Zandt. I read from those 2 books because it always kicks the show off in a positive spirit, and the rest of the show just flows in that positive vein. I've done that for years. That's kind of been our ritual and routine. And then, listening audience, you know by this time, I introduce who I have on the line with me, and then I share some information with you and give you a chance to let everybody know that we're on the air. And then we be underway with our interview. So, all right, without any further ado, who I have on the line with me is J.Blair Brown. She is a lifelong resident of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where she was once a stage actress and singer before giving it all up to focus on parenthood. That was decades ago, and today she is not only a manager, the manager of Michael Giovanni, she is also a writer, director, and publicist. J. Brown, welcome to the Reading Circle with Marc Medley.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me. I love how you start off that show. Before I talk about me, I want to thank you for having such a popular show, such a positive show. And the fact that you started off on a positive note is so different. So I thank you, thank you, thank you. And might I add to your intro that to fill that hole with humility, knowing that we cannot cross that hole without help.
I know that's right.
You have to have humility. Yes, I love that. I love what you had to say. So anyway, thank you.
Well, I thank you for rising. Are you in Harrisburg now?
Absolutely.
You are. I have
Born
some.
and raised.
All right. I have some relatives there. My mother has some cousins or aunts or something that was there. I've been to Harrisburg a couple of times. And
oh yeah.
So yeah,
What's the last name?
You know what? I'm not sure if they were Bernards or not. I'm going to have to now call her later and find out who was there, because I remember she was always talking about some relatives in Harrisburg. But I think they were cousins of hers or something. I'm not sure if they were Bernards or what. But I will definitely. What's that?
So we're connected.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna get in touch with her today, and I'm gonna get the names of who was there, and I'll email you who they were. And you never know.
Yeah, we know some of the same people. We're connected some kind of way.
That's right. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about, and I don't know if Michael is going to join us later, because listening audience, we actually were going to do a conference call, a tag team, where Michael was going to join us as well. So either he's running late or something has happened. And J.Blair rather, believe it or not, at this time of the morning, things tend to happen. One of two things usually happen. Usually people oversleep, or either they had cases where the guest, overnight, in between the time that I talked to them the night before and the morning, something happened overnight and they were in the emergency room. So I've had all different kinds of experiences of why the show name, but it's rare. Most of the time the guests are there. But every now and again, if they don't, or like last week, my guest I had not heard from and I still haven't heard from that guest. She didn't show up. And so I had my plan B together where I was my own guest. But I didn't hear anything more from, it was a young lady singer, Tennille. Tennille was supposed to be on, and I never heard anything. That's rare too, because usually people call and we reschedule and make a new date or what have you. But in this case, I didn't hear nothing anymore, so I don't know what happened. But I'm glad that you're on the line.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell you, one of the most bizarre interviews that I did, I had my own show. This was about 3 years ago. And I was on my way home to do the show, and there was a horrible accident. It was absolutely horrible. And I had to call this actor in L.A. He was on a popular TV show. I had to call him and walk him through what was going on. And it took me about 45 minutes to start my show. And this gentleman waited for me to start my show late. It was one of the best interviews I've had. But I'm saying this to say, things happen.
They do.
But you know what? We roll with it.
That's exactly, and that's what I've learned over the years, because this is my 14th year on the air here. And in the early days, I really would get crazy and excited when things didn't go right. I really would. But now, as I've been doing this for so long, it's kind of like it is what it is. I'm the first show of the morning here on the campus. And in order for me to get into the studio, because I'm the only one here, in order for me to get into the studio, the campus police have to escort me in. They really make me feel special. I mean, I feel like a Michael Giovanni or a star, one of the people you represent. I mean, it's like I have like a little entourage that brings me in on Saturday mornings. Like, wow, I'm a celebrity. The police have to escort me in. But every now and again, the police will be tied up on another emergency call, and they can't come over. So, I'm sitting here freaking out because I have a guest scheduled to talk to at 6 o'clock, and they may not get here till 6:15 or 6:30 or 6:45, meaning that, the show just didn't go on that morning. Or, like you said, the guests will wait. I'll get in contact with them and say, I'm trying to get into the building. So, again, I say all that to say, you're right, things happen. But there was a time where, my blood pressure would have been like zillion high because I couldn't get into the studio, or because the guest wasn't there, or the equipment wasn't working, or whatever. But so, like in this morning's case, if Michael joins us, we'll have a blast. If Michael, for whatever reason, does not join us, we'll still have a blast. We're already having one. I can see that already. So I'm going to share some information with the listening audience. I tell you, we're not taking a break, because me and J.Blair are not going anywhere.
That's right.
So we're not taking a break. I'm just going to share information with you. And while I'm sharing this information with you, they're called public service announcements. I need you to get on all your social media sites and let somebody know that the Reading Circle's on the air, that J.Blair is with me, and that we're going to have some fun over the next 45 minutes or so. And if they want to be a part of that fun, tell them to tune in to gobrave.org. So get on your Twitter, get on your Facebooks, get on your LinkedIn's, your Instagrams, your Pinterests, your Snapchats, your whatever else they've introduced of late. Get on there and tell them to get on their computers. That's right. Get on your computers, turn your speakers on, and hit that listen button and tune into the show. All right, I'm going to share this with you, and then we'll be back momentarily. We're not going anywhere now, but we'll resume talking momentarily. I have to get literal. And then, but while I'm doing that, you make sure you let somebody know to tune in to gobrave.org.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't seen your lap in months. And even more stuff. But still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Reading Circle with Marc Medley on Brave New Radio.
All right, I never ask anyone to do anything that I am not willing or won't or can do myself. So what took me a couple of extra seconds there, I was actually on Hootsuite putting a text out there saying the Reading Circle is on the air right now. Tune in right now on gobrave.org. Now, my Hootsuite is connected to all my social media sites. It's like 14 of them. And so that blast goes out to all of my different social media sites. So everybody will see that as it comes through, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, Pinterest, whatever. I ask folks to tune in. I know it's an early morning show, but J.Blair, you'd be amazed how many people are up this time of morning. I look on the social media sites, and I know it's different time zones around the country and the world, but these things be cranking for it to be 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. That's what that. Hey, because you got to get up early in the morning. Was it Ben Franklin who said early to bed, early to rise?
That's right.
Makes a man
healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Yeah,
I know that's right. But in any event,
I think. Yeah, times are hard.
Yeah, so
you wait too long, you're gonna miss it.
Oh yes, so I'm like, so those that are up, and those that are up on the social media, they could still be posting. They just need to turn the speakers on and open up another tab and go to gobrave.org, and they can catch us. So I tell you what, you are what I consider, and I've had many guests on the show that I consider in that category, and that is a Renaissance woman. I've had Renaissance men, and I've had Renaissance women, and I say that because those are usually folks in my definition of Renaissance are people that do multiple things. They do many things, and not just do them well. And there are many people, believe it or not, that truly believe that you can only do one thing in life, and you're stuck doing that for the rest of your life. I mean, it's like if that's what your career choice is, you're stuck in it. If that's what you decided to do for this year, you're going to have to do that forever. And then there are those of us like me and you who hey, you know what? Life is short. This is what I want to do at this period of time, and I'm doing it. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. So I consider I'll put you in that Renaissance woman category because I'm looking at all the different hats that you've worn. And you know what? In 2015, probably we're going to have more and more Renaissance people only because nothing really lasts long now. But I see here you've been like a publicist, a manager, a writer, a director. Even on your LinkedIn profile, there's something dealing with Nissan. So, let's talk a little bit about, how did we go from one thing to the other? Or have you always been that way? Or in terms of the writing, was that something you did in school? Talk a little bit about, let's kind of work our way through.
you know that it's so funny when you make that connection, because as an adult, I say, well, Mark, I have to pay my bills. You know, one of the things that I like to get through to people, and when he does show up for an interview, Michael Giovanni likes to urge up and coming actors. You know, it's okay not to be number one or number two. You should attain to it, but the way to attain to it is by using your mental faculties. You have to be smart. You have to pay your bills. You have to have a job. So, you know, I hear a lot of people, for instance, I had a former client who was leaving the East Coast and moving to the West Coast, and he said, well, I'm just going to leave my car, and I'm just going to go out there, and I'm just going to be a star. And I said, hold up. First of all, you don't know where you're going to sleep when you get out there. You take that car.
Yeah, I know that's right.
You better have
at least that. That's right.
And how you can go to the beach and sleep in your car. And the other thing is, if you think you're going to be on the East Coast, or you know you're over here, you can get on the SEPTA, or here in Harrisburg we have CAT or whatever the bus route is, and you can be where you need to be in 20, 25 minutes. You ain't going to have that option in L.A.
That's right.
So, you know, if you want to get on the highway and make it there in possibly an hour,
right,
hour and a half, you need your car. So, you know, my whole point is, you know, as you grow up and as you grow smarter, hopefully, you realize that there are certain steps that you have to take. People aren't being discovered at the malt shop anymore, Mark. They're not standing on the street corner doo-wopping, and somebody's going to, you know, just give a... Motown doesn't have their doors open.
Right.
People are being discovered by YouTube and by somebody's uncle who works with car, you know, who shampoos their car, their nephew's niece. I mean, there's all these connections now, and so many people want to go into the entertainment industry, and so because of that, what they're doing. So for me to be smart, I was always a single parent. I always had to, you know, have some kind of income.
That's right.
So that I could take care of my child. And that's why I, as you say, wear so many hats. Now I'm used to it. I'm used to those hats. I started writing for a living as an adult. When I was in school, it wasn't a goal. I never went to college. And I probably shouldn't say that on your show, but I didn't. I didn't go to college. I went right out of high school and I got a job. And then a couple of years later, I had my daughter. But one of the things that I remembered, you know, in sitting down, and I actually sat down with pen and paper on a job that I had several years ago, and I said, I'm not happy here. What can I do to make a living legally? It has to pay enough money for me to, you know, handle my life, manage my life.
Right.
And I wrote a list of things that I was capable of doing. And at my workstation at work. And I said, okay, now let's dwindle this down to what I love to do. Because I need to do something that I love to do. And writing was at the top of the list. And so that's how I became a writer. I said, okay, well, I see now this internet is hot and people are paying, you know, money to... Somebody's got to do all the writing.
That's right.
Why don't I try doing that? And so I joined different forums where I'm not going to lie to you, the first article I wrote is about 500 words long. I was paid $2.
That's right.
And yeah, and
I'm not surprised at that at all, because I know the industry, so I'm not surprised at that at all.
Oh yeah, it's just, you know, inundated. So I underbid everyone severely. I said, look, I'll write this for you for $2. I would say that's not a good idea, but you have to understand the type of writing that I wanted to do. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have anything on my resume, so I had to sell myself short. So the guy bought it for me for $2, and then he came back to me, and I sold it for $4, and then $8, and then $20. And when I got to $20, I said, so I can no longer do this. I have other things that I need to accomplish. So I went on to do some writing for private industry, real estate, construction. I want to do that sort of thing. In the midst of doing that, I started seeing these gigs where people were looking for people just like me who love to write and love to watch TV. Hello. Hello. You're going to pay me to do what I love doing what I love doing? Yeah. It was like, this is heaven.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. You're right.
Absolutely. And around the same time, I started my own radio show. And when I started that, I didn't have any kind of focus. I didn't know where I was going. So I started the radio show as a writer, interviewing authors. And I did that. And I just wasn't getting the love out of it. I wasn't feeling it. So I said, you know what? What's the industry? What can I tap into that people are so underappreciated that people, the experts in this field, would love to come on my radio show?
Right.
And that's when I went into independent film. Let me tell you, if you ever, I mean, you probably know this, but if you ever want to make sure you're going to have people who are going to show up and bring their entourage on the radio show, it is the independent film industry. Very underappreciated. They will come on your show and they will bring people with them. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I'm going to tell you my first big star on my show, and to this day I absolutely adore this man, and I watch him every week, was Harry Lennox.
Oh, my God. Because Harry's on LinkedIn, and every now and again, Harry played a role of Adam Clayton Powell Jr. That to this day, I see Harry more as Adam than I do Adam. And one of my and I told him, one of my favorite movies is called Keep the Faith, Baby. It's he and Vanessa Williams, because Vanessa plays one of his wives. And he plays Adam Clayton Powell Jr. And he does such a fantastic job in that role that when I picture Adam Clayton Powell, I think of him. So yeah, if you ever speak to him, you tell him, because I know I've chatted with him on LinkedIn every now and again. But that is one of my top 5 movies. Keep the Faith Babies in it, and Harry Lennox is the star.
Really? Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you something. There's something to be said for, I like to call it respectful ignorance.
Right now.
It's not that you want to be ignorant, but you have to respect. So, I had to follow certain protocols, but I didn't know that I should go through somebody who should go through somebody to get him on my show. And I'm going to tell you how this came up. I'm sitting at home one day, and I said, okay, I'm going to make this radio show work. And I'm watching an old episode of House. And I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but she played a jazz artist, a trumpeter, I think, who, has this horrible disease, and he meets House. And I'm sitting there, and I said, I always liked him, really loved him on the radio. You know what? I'm going to reach out to him. I didn't have anybody's number. I just Googled Harry Lennox Jr. Management Company. And I called this guy. And this guy said, well, we're in New York. He's in L.A. I'll give you a number up to L.A. I said, okay. Took a deep breath, did a quick prayer. I called out there. And the man said, his agent said, well, I'll tell you what you do. You just tell me about your radio show, send it to me in an email. I certainly will do that. And, of course, I'm thinking, yeah, this is not going to work. An hour later, I had a yes. I never knew my big, beautiful, black butt could jump so high. I could not believe it. I did a countdown. I had my blog, so I did a countdown with, and it was magnificent. He was my first big guest. So, my whole point is people are out there and they're looking for ways to, make it, quote unquote. And I want to tell you right now, people, you cannot make it in this industry without branding yourself.
That's correct.
You have to have a brand.
That's correct.
And so across me, and it sounds like, wow, she doesn't know what she's going to do. But my brand, it all circles around, everything connects everything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you're right, because my brand is always around reading and books, hence the Reading Circle. And you're right. I mean, that's what I am known for, is literature, literary, reading, so forth and so on. And that's you're so correct with the brand. And I laugh when you talk about connecting with people, because we are in an age, we were blessed to be in an age with social media, because there was a time, probably, and I'm probably a little bit older than you, but there was as a kid, when you saw a star or something, like for me, if it was a baseball player, a football player, whatever, we got the old pen and paper and you sent the letter to the stadium and you never heard anything back. But in the day of social media, Jay, I'm going to tell you, I am always blown away at the people who respond back to you in social media. And Harry Lennox is one of them. Like I said, I've chatted back and forth with Harry on LinkedIn. But there has been others, just the same way I get guests on this show. I've gotten them basically through social media. So I know exactly what you described. And in terms of the branding, absolutely right.
Yep. And the next thing people need, and I'm sorry to hear when people say, I have to cut certain people out of my life. They were my friends. I thought they were my friend, and yada, yada. And one of the things that I tell people, especially in this industry, it breeds contempt and it breeds slyness and wickedness and evilness. You have to surround yourself with people who are absolutely, thoroughly for you. You're getting away from what we're trying to do. A lot with my clients. Who are you? Because if you're just taking any old role, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem on your hands. Who are you? Who do you want people to know you are? Who are you comfortable waking up in the morning and looking at yourself in the mirror? Who are you comfortable being? Because that person, we talk about the positives in social media, the negatives are, you can never go back and erase that. Somewhere,
that's correct.
Some video or some audio of you that will never be destroyed. So you better be careful about what you're doing.
That's absolutely correct. And I laugh as we're talking about social media, because when Facebook first came out, I think it was right on the heels of what was that first one out? MySpace. And I just knew MySpace. I said, that's for the kids. So when Facebook came out, I had that same thought. I don't have time for that. I can't be bothered with that. That's for the kids. But then, it was kind of like that V8 thing that dropped on the head, or where you go, I could have had a V8. It dawned on me, wait a minute, I can use this for, like you're talking about branding, for business. Yep. And at that point, that... to use my real name, because until 2 weeks ago, I was under there as the Reading Circle, and that's what the Reading Circle. Actually, I think it was a combination of two things. One, it hit that 5,000 mark, and I think at that point you have to flip over to a fan page. So I was reaching there, and plus they were now saying, no, you have to use your real name. You cannot use a show name or anything like that. So I had to open up a new page under my real name. But my point is, once I started using that for business purposes or advertising purposes, as you say, for free, that's when I really started popping in terms of getting the guests. So, and you're right, you use it up, because in one of my other hats that I wear during the week is I'm a school principal. And
sweet.
Yes, so I know how kids maliciously use social media. I mean, they cyberbully each other on there, and they pick and then they come to school and want to fight it out there. So it goes both ways. You can use it either positively or negatively. And for me, social media turned out, what I thought something was very silly, turned out to be a godsend. It really did.
And kudos to you for recognizing that, because I do have people that I deal with in my daily life. One of my clients is Karan Dunbar. You're going to want to look him up. This guy is amazing. But Karan dubs himself blue collar filmmaker.
Okay.
So now in our circle, we call it blue collar filmmaking, meaning that we all have jobs. We all take care of our kids. We all take care of our families. We all do what every quote unquote normal person does. We just make films in the process. That's our passion. But the reality is we need to bring in some money. You can call yourself a filmmaker. You know, back in the day, Mark, you could call yourself a filmmaker and people flock to you and
Right.
you can give a lecture and make some money. Now everybody's a filmmaker. So what sets you apart? And if you're not set apart from the pack, you're not going to lead that pack.
You're right.
Ever. You're always going to be sniffing behind another dog in front of you. Now, is there anything wrong with the pack? There's nothing wrong with the pack unless you're not one to want to sniff behind the dog in front of you.
Right. And this is where technology and things such as YouTube, you're right. Because the music that you're hearing in the background, I self-published. I was able to do the studio work. I was able to do it from soup to nuts, nuts to soup, whichever way that goes. The same thing with the radio show, because at one point we were heard only locally here in northern New Jersey. The station manager had the vision to now get us web streaming, and we're heard around the world. My point is, what I'm saying is, with all the technology, any Joe Blow off the street, if you have the wherewithal for it, can become, like you say, a filmmaker, talk show host, musician, whatever it is. And so you really do have to distinguish yourself as to what distinguishes you from the pack, because the pack is larger now.
Yes, very. Oh, my word. It's ridiculously larger. But, you know, and I'm telling my age, when I was growing up, there were steel mills.
Oh, yeah.
There were auto factories.
That's right.
All these things were around us in these areas, certainly in Pittsburgh, you know, and Philly. So it was okay for your cousin to be a mechanic.
Right.
At that factory, and your uncle to work at the steel mill or to work in the coal mines, and there was one member in the family of, extended family of 75 who wanted to be a star.
Right.
Now those places are closed down,
right. And
people are saying, okay, how can we make it big on YouTube so we can get 10 minutes or 5 minutes on Ellen?
Right.
Or so all of this is now in the entertainment industry, and it's because of technology. And, I explain to people, if you don't catch on, again, you're going to be behind, buddy. I work at a Nissan franchise here, and I work with a gentleman who is just 1 year older. I think he's 2 years older than me. And he just told me the other day, you're going to have to show me this email thing. I said, what? He's been selling cars for 30 years. I said,
I believe that. I know.
He said, you're going to have to show me how I can get my emails and why is it so important. I said, are you kidding me? You don't get your email? He said, no, because I have to make all these phone calls. I said, you're doing it the wrong way. The people who are sending you the emails, those are your phone calls, buddy.
Right.
If someone's sending you an email, you don't have to go out trying to find somebody to find a call. They're waiting for you to get back to them. By the time you get back to them, you done lost the sale.
Wow.
Just get your email, and you don't have to make the call. So I think people our age, I'm going to assume we're around the same age. My daughter, by the way, is 34.
Okay, so then my oldest is 25. So all right then. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. I laugh when you talk about email because I was working for AT&T at the time, and that's whenever desktops were coming out. We all had gotten a desktop, and they had this thing called email. And again, I looked at it and said, "Why do I need this? I don't understand. What is this email thing?" And then once I got hold to it, that's the predominant way that I communicate now, is through email.
I gotta tell you, when I tell people this story, first of all, half the kids have no idea what I'm talking about when I say DOS. I was on my DOS computer.
DOS, that's right.
Took me from DOS and showed me WordPerfect.
Yep.
And I said, Why do I need to learn that? Look, all I need is Control-Alt-B.
That's right.
Control-B. That's bold. Why do I need to say stuff when you stop? And they gave me a 20-minute tutorial. I was all in.
Right.
Like, oh my word. Now I look back and say, but that's what we do. We hold ourselves back a lot of times.
Right.
We keep hitting this brick wall. What is this wall? This wall is the glass. That's
Right.
the mirror.
Right.
You break through that, shatter that, and you're going to be fine. But you have to face the fact that this world
has changed. Right.
Technological, yes. And if you're not going down that technological path,
That's
not
right.
For everyone, not for everybody, but if you call yourself a part of an industry that the technology is a big part of, and you're not part of that, that trend,
Right.
you're going to miss out.
You're going to be left behind. You really are. And it's interesting, you were talking about a couple of minutes ago about having the day jobs and what we do on the side. Someone asked me one time, if I can make the same money, doing radio that I'm making being a principal, which one would I take? Now, I love education is my passion, but I love doing what I'm doing here on Saturday mornings as well. So if I could make the same money doing just this, oh yeah, I'd do this.
Oh yeah.
I'd be the radio talk show host if I can make that. If I was like one of these like Sean Hannity's and Rush Limbaugh's and Mike Baisden and now Steve Harvey and all them. Oh yeah, you can rest assured.
I will work with you to help you because I think you have a great show. I love what you do. You're a very good talk show host. I've been on some other interviews, and when you've already done that, when you've already reached a certain success, and you want to give somebody else an opportunity, and they're horrible. I worked with someone. I had to take over the interview. She didn't know the questions to ask. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know who I was. It sounded like she was following in the background.
Right.
I said, "Are you there?" Because in the radio.
But I've had guests, I know what you mean. There are certain guests that make me work hard. And there are other guests like this morning where it's real easy. But you get a guest that gives you a one-word answer. Oh my word. Right. You ask a question and they're like, yes. Okay, could you elaborate a little bit more on that, please? My guest, this is radio. You're going to have to talk.
Yeah. I've had guests when I was doing my show. I've had guests who had a pause, and I coughed. People need to hear something. They need to hear something. I would just cough. Excuse me. So now let's go on to this next point I wanted to talk about because it is just like.
Oh my goodness. I need to share some more information with the audience. I'm going to do that. But as you can see in the audience, J.Blair and I are having a ball. I told you it was going to be fun for these 45 minutes. You get to the point whenever I usually have the folks call in like that 5 or 10 minutes earlier. And a lot of times that's the first time we actually talk because most time the communication is with email. But I can tell from the first 5 minutes when I talk to people before we go on the air what kind of interview it's going to be. And I knew from when I picked up that phone, when you said, hey, Marc Medley, I said, oh, this is going to be a fun interview. And
I'm glad.
I knew right from that point.
I'll tell you now, if you ever need a last-minute guest, just call me.
Oh, you know what? And I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to hold you to that because every now and again, because my show, I'm really thankful that I have the autonomy. I can kind of do what I want to do because the station management trusts me that I'm not going to like sink them. And so that I'm going to hold you to that. But let me share this information with the listening audience because I do have to do some things for the FCC. But that's okay because I need you to, while I'm sharing this information, would you get on the line and say I have J.Blair on with me for the last 15 or 20 minutes or so of the show. We've been having an absolute blast because we share some same experiences. And so I'm going to do that. Like I said, we're not going anywhere. Just go right ahead and get on your social media sites. And you know what? Those two are having a ball. You need to tune in now and catch their energy.
The cow says, I love you.
a child, it's just something else to play with. Lock it up, because 1.7 million children in the U.S. are living with unlocked and loaded guns. Get involved at ceasefireusa.org.
Hi, my name is Stan Myers, and I'm here at FM 88.7. I do a jazz show called Just a Mood. And if you like the music, anything from Louis to Lester Bowie, I'm your man. That's Sunday. Looking to hear from you, okay?
You're listening to The Reading Circle with Marc Medley on Brave New Radio.
Yes, indeed, you are. This is another edition of The Reading Circle with Marc Medley. Now, wait, I'm trying to make sure I get my Pennsylvania area straight, because Harrisburg, if I'm not mistaken, years ago, I would always spend my Memorial Day weekend there because I have some friends there. You're not too far from Hershey Park, correct?
Right, we're 20 minutes.
Okay, that is the place. Okay, I'm sure there's a... Do you know, let's see, Walter Howard, Abigail Howard? I don't know if you're past me or crossed or not. They've been there. They moved from the Paterson, New Jersey area there now. I guess it has to be 20, 25 years now they've been there. And we, a whole bunch of us from Paterson would come down in cars because Abigail would get homesick for New Jersey. And so all of us on Memorial Day weekend, we'd come down at about maybe 8, 9, 10 couples, and we'd have like a big pajama party over Memorial Day, which would always end at Hershey Park. So I don't know if you know the Howards or not, but it's Walter and Abigail Howard.
I don't
but
know
they are
that.
in Harrisburg, and so and as far as Pennsylvania goes in terms of football, I've been a lifelong Pittsburgh Steeler fan, so so there are definitely some connections there.
I have a twin sister who right now she and I share an apartment with my brother and his wife. But I say this to say my twin sister, I just got off the couch that has her Pittsburgh Steeler pillow.
Oh, there you go.
Well, she is Pittsburgh Steelers down.
I am as well. And for those in the listening audience, I hope you've been with us since 6, but if by chance you just caught us as you were surfing, my guest this morning is J.Blair Brown. She is a Renaissance woman as she holds multiple titles and wears multiple hats. She's the publicist for the likes of Michael Giovanni, who has appeared on The Wire, as well as Tyler Perry's House, as well as, what's his latest work that he was in? He's also doing his own directing and stuff, as well as on...
Familiar with Harrisburg. It's not the hubbub. It is not the hub.
Oh, like I said, now that because it's been a few years since we've done our Memorial Day pajama party, but I was sitting here thinking, I said, wait a minute, Harrisburg, that's where Abigail and Walter is. But yes, yeah, I'm familiar with Harrisburg. I've even ridden my bike down there because I took my bike one year.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're serious about the industry and you want to still remain in Harrisburg, we have a couple of really huge celebrities here, but they're very low key. They don't hang out or anything like that. But one of the things that we decided to do, and this was back in 2012, we said, okay, we're going to start our own productions, and we're very careful of the type of productions we do. So we sat down, and I did the PR on the web series. It was the city's first first web series, and we made it a SAG project. So it's called Hamilton Street. People can still see it on YouTube. I have to warn you, the language is not, and that is not a part of what I do, but I did publicize it. And it turned out really, really great. Had some really big, notable celebrities who had seen it, who had heard about it, and, just called to give us some encouragement and say, hey, you're moving in the right direction. So that was really exciting for us. But then we kind of laid low because we didn't want to be that type of team that, okay, and let's do it, and it doesn't mean anything. One of the things that we wanted to do was start raising consciousness and creating a dialogue. People need to talk about what's going on.
Right.
So, we wanted to do, and again, we're both blue collar. So, he has his family that he's very protective about, and that he cares about, that he takes care of. And then I have my own life. So it's not like we're the kind of team that meets every day or even every week. We both have our lives. It's out of respect for one another.
Right.
But we are doing another short film coming up, and it's about, what's happened in different cities with the white officer thing.
Yes.
What really makes the news, the white officer and the African American
teen. Yes, that's.
There's probably been some where the opposite was true.
Right.
How about if the officer was the minority, but he was the one with the power, and then the white man was not,
right.
That's the power. So that's what we're working on now. We're going to start shooting that. We're going to start filming next month. It's really, it's only going to be 20, 25 minutes. It's going to be a short film, and we're going to submit that to film festivals. So anyone who's interested in becoming a part of this, it will be a SAG project. Reach out to me on Facebook, and it's J.Blair Brown, just the letter J, J space Blair, Blair, space Brown. Just reach out to me on Facebook, and I'll let you know how you can get involved, because
that's your Facebook friends or not. We might be, and so I'll definitely now that I have the new page, I'll hit you up for my new page, my one with the real name.
Yeah.
Like I said, Facebook forced me to my. They got nasty. Facebook got nasty. They were like, they locked me out. They said, no, unless you use your real name, this account is defunct. I said,
it's something about Facebook. I don't know. They kind of go rogue.
Yeah.
Like everything will be fine, and then you open up your Facebook page, and it's like, what is this?
Right.
Why are they making me put this in?
That's right. There are messages, you cannot go into your account. You're going to convert this page. I literally
or else.
Right, and they said you have to show proof of ID. And they give you this list of things like your birth certificate, your social. I said, I like Facebook, but I don't like it that much. But in any event, they did have you could use your car insurance card, your car insurance ID card. Now that I scanned, I was all right. There's only so much they can do with that.
And that's where I start having a problem, because, Mark, where is it going to end?
Right.
And with so much data being stolen on a daily basis, if they can hack Home Depot,
right. Sony, and everything.
If they can hack the United States government,
that's right.
Come on,
that's right.
They can hack. Yeah, if they can hack
Facebook. But yeah, they gave me this long list of different types of ID. I could scan them, and it was like birth certificate was one, Social Security was one. I mean, it was like your major type deals. I'm like you. Wait, I'm not giving you anything that somebody else can get a hold of. So, like I said, I took the least. Because then they said, well, if you didn't give one of the major ones, you can give them two of something else, like a work ID and then something else. And I was like, okay, the least invasive of this is my car insurance, the little card I get back from State Farm. So this is the least invasive. But I had to scan it, and then they finally opened my page back up, and I was able to put my real name in and turn the other one into a fan page, so forth and so on. But yeah, it was like crazy. I mean, at one point I said, well, you know what? I guess my days on Facebook are over because I'm not doing all that.
That's how I feel. I'm not comfortable with that at all. I am not. It's crazy. So another thing, people, you guys out there, especially young people, I think the older we are, the more hesitant. We've seen a lot.
Right.
But younger people tend to have this trust, and it's such a dangerous thing. You don't want to teach your children not to trust.
Right.
But then you have to teach them how to be cautious. You want your kids to be healthy.
And and I'm glad you brought it up, and I'll tell you why. Because based on I'm assuming the age group is somewhere close now. I really thought I was a lot older than you, but now I'm beginning to see we're somewhere close. I might be a year or two, or vice versa. But what do you now say as you talk to teenagers in our age group of all the different things that you've done? How do you now inspire them to say, "Look, hon, you can do this, and the reason I'm telling you can do this is because it's happened for me. How do you, when you're dealing with young ladies or African American girls or any girls for that matter, what is your message to them?
Just what you just said, that, this is not the 50s. If you sit down and rationalize with teenagers, and I think that's a lot of times what we as adults tend to not do, we want to tell them what to do. Do this, don't do that. But if you sit down and rationalize with kids, you give them a way to start reasoning things for themselves. Instead of saying, I don't want you to get pregnant, how about sitting down with that child and say, this is what happens when you have a child. First of all, I'm not that grandma. See, that's what I taught my daughter. First of all, I'm not that grandmother. I'm not that person. I'm not raising. I raised you. My job is my job here is done.
That's right.
So you need to remember that. There's no more happy times going out with your friends, no more weekends away. That's all going to stop.
Right.
And then you're going to have to think about how you're going to. I said to my daughter, do you see how I've worked so hard? Sometimes it was it was always one job, but sometimes it was two. And at one point, I had 3 jobs.
Right.
Do you understand what happens if you don't graduate? Honey, you don't graduate from high school.
That's right.
This is the job you're going to have for the rest of your life. My daughter's first job was in the warehouse. And after 2 weeks, she said, Ma, I don't know. That's your life, baby.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
She went back to school, and she got her high school diploma.
I know that's right.
And that's so when you sit down with kids, and then, you know what? Don't back out on the resources. Sit down and watch a movie with your child and say,
right.
How that happened. If that child had done this, we have to do. And I'm a very faith-based person. So, I open the Bible.
That's right.
You see how this happens?
That's right. That's
right. You see how old King Josiah was when he took over the kingdom? He was 8 years old. Do you see how he was able to turn that entire nation around? Don't tell me you don't have the faculty.
That's right.
So we can use instead of just throwing down a hammer, because then what happens, and I know your time is short, but the last thing I want to say is what happens is when that child turns 18, you think everything's fine, you open the door and that child's gone.
That's right.
And that child's gone in a way that you don't like it. And then you're wondering 10, 15 years later, where is my child? Why don't we have that closeness?
That's
because
correct.
It starts now. And don't try to be friends with your children.
That's correct.
Your job is not to be friends with your children. Your job is not to hang out in the arcade, if they even have those places anymore. But your job is to oversee and raise this child.
That's right.
In a manner that if something happens to you, your child can go on. We don't raise our children that.
That's right.
So
half of them don't even know what the needle is. They don't even know when you say needle or thread, they're looking like, what's that?
Yes. So anyway, I know your time is short. Mark, I want to say thank you. This has been a great show. I love how you handle it.
Well, thank you. I have, you know what it is? Because you said it earlier in terms of passion. For me, the maxim for me is if I don't have fun doing it, eventually I stop doing it. And I have met so many wonderful people over the 14 years on the air, and you're now included as one of them, and I'm going to hold you to that if I need a backup or a guest. Something goes wrong, I'm going to give you a call and say, let's chat, because really the show is conversational. And hopefully, folks, that you've been listening, that you've learned something from J.Blair's experiences, because she's been right on point. And I'm definitely going to keep in touch, because you never know. We may wind up doing something together, or can come up with something in terms of like the whole getting out there thing and putting it. Because the more, like you said, branding and publicity that we can get, the better. It will certainly not hurt. And like I said, I knew from the minute I picked up that phone and you said, "Hey, Marc Medley," I said, we're going to have some fun, and we certainly have. So I always give my guests the last mic time in terms of promotion. If you have any books or like in terms of your films, where you're going to be, if there's anything that you're trying to market, you could say anything, of course, with the exception of the dollar amount. But anything beyond, anything short of that, you're free to tell it. So I give the mic over to you.
Thank you, because my very newest client is a company. It's in the food industry. It's called Got Jerk. This is an authentic Jamaican sauce, gourmet sauce company. They're locally based, And these guys are just knocking it out the box. If you love all things jerk, if you love curry, we have curry in a hurry. We have hot and tasty. We have traditional jerk. And I've been posting things on my Facebook page, and people are hitting me up. Where can I get this? We are now in 35 stores here in the Central PA area, and we are growing every single week.
Now, what's the name of it?
Like, it's called Got Jerk.
Got Jerk. G-O-T-J-E-R-K?
Exclamation point, and we have a Facebook page. You go to that Facebook page, but this is me again. This is that branding. All of my stuff comes back around. So if you're in the entertainment industry, you don't have to just sit there.
Right. My wife is from Jamaica, and so. My wife is from Jamaica, so I'm exposed to a lot of Jamaican food. So,
okay.
And I will definitely go check that page out. Anything else coming up?
What else is coming up? Karan Dunbar, award-winning director and actor. I think I mentioned him earlier. His new film, The Ephesians, is a very short film, very powerful. You're going to hear a lot about this film. I really have to connect you with Karan. He's done some amazing things, and this is his second film. He was a stand-up comedian, but he's so deep. His thought processes are amazing. I'm going to send you also a link to some of my interviews with him so that you can get to know him, and you're going to want to know this guy. You're going to want to have him on your show.
Well, I tell you what, anybody that you think would benefit from being on here, just like we did for this morning, shoot me an email and we'll get them scheduled, him or her.
Okay.
And you can be online. We can do the tag team. We can do the conference thing. We can, because like I said, I'm grateful and thankful to God that I have the autonomy that I have. And because of the trust they've placed in me, they kind of let me do my own thing. And I've never abused that. So if anybody...
Well, so you tell me who you want to have on your show. I'll help you book that person.
Okay, that'll work.
I'll believe it.
That will work. And with that being said, J.Blair, I like the way you do J.Blair Brown instead of whatever the J stands for. You do it because every now and again, like whenever somebody forces me to use one of these names on these social media, I might do M. Allen Medley. I do that every now and again. That's my other. That's
okay.
So M. Allen is my other. You do J.Blair, I do M. Allen. But I love that. And J.Blair Brown. So, again, we will be in touch. And in terms of technology, we were talking about that earlier. What happens with the show is, and I'm almost sure all the equipment did what it was supposed to do this morning. The show is recorded, and I usually convert it to YouTube, like little movie type thing. It's like you don't see anything other than our pictures, but it's like a slideshow of pictures, but you hear the interview, you hear our voices. So sometime over the weekend, I'll convert it to that and send that link to you, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
Yep. All right.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, have a wonderfully blessed day. I don't know if you're an early bird and you stay up or if you go back and take a nap, but whatever you do, however it is, be blessed and have fun with it.
Thank you. You do the same, Mark.
Thank you. I'll be in touch.
All right.
Take care now.